Hey, and pierogies. You taught me how to make pierogies and cabbage rolls.
So all those dumplings things.
Oh, fuck, they're so good, eh?
Yeah. Anything round and juicy and chewy.
And wet.
We are rolling.
Are we rolling now?
Yes, sir.
It's what he said
Well,
just came on the air.
Yes, sir.
Well, why don't we start?
Oh
with,
no, that's terrible. Did he actually say that on the air?
So we can look for a change. We can start with something round.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to
chewy.
know, and this is not a commercial, but the doc took 2 of these before we started the program. And do you know what these are? And if you do a Google on it, VESELE, it's a little bit of a help. You can figure out that's why he's talking like that. It worked real quick on him.
Yeah, that's why we started with the.
You want another 2? Only I'm going to sit on the other side of here because I have a feeling you'll be looking at me with new eyes.
Beyond saying around, juicy, wet, and chewy, I don't know if I can say much more.
This was supposed to be a serious show. I mean, you know.
That's okay. I'm talking about some food, so you know it's fine. It's tasty. It's very tasty.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. So welcome to another episode of Straight Talk with Ed and Doc. This is Ed, blah.
Hi.
I'm Norm Goldberg, the Doc, and we have a few things to discuss. I hope I won't get into any more rants compared to last time. But last time we had a conference with our dogs involved as well. So they're now kind of relaxing
in the car.
So it's a little bit more quiet, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a little more quiet right now, so we can maybe get back to some of those things or follow up on some of those issues. But for the time being, Ed, tell me how your week went. If you have anything interesting to comment on.
Well, no, I spent my time awake and in the hospital doing different tests
You
and stuff.
get tests done. All right.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of tests to do now, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll be back here next week.
Oh, I hope so. I hope you'll be back. Jeez.
Back in the
I'll be
Barbados.
back here.
Yeah. Yeah, who am I going to talk to if I don't have you right over here?
Well, Loki's sitting over the chair. He's the only dog here over there. You can talk to Loki.
Yeah, it's, well, if he has, I hope he has something good to say, because I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but lately,
something
because he's
quiet.
getting old, he farts a lot.
Well, that's okay. I'm used
Maybe
to
we'll
it.
get him sit at the end of the sofa, right? You like the ocean, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
look at-
warm here, you know. I got a sunburn
It's
before.
it's very warm. I had to, before I came here, I put some suntan lotion on, right? Yeah.
Oh,
that's
did
right,
you?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Did
didn't
you
get a
change your
chance-
socks? Because you know your feet smell when you sweat. You know that, eh?
Well, I didn't get a chance to get my tank top on or my swim trunks, but next
Your
next
bag
week.
top? Don't tell
Next
me you're getting breasts too.
Only the same size. What is it? A -3 or whatever.
Well, everybody gets to see my tattoos. What does it say? Who me?
Yeah, yeah. So
I guess I guess that little thing is a definition of my character.
what's that? What does
Who
it
me?
say?
You see it?
Oh yeah, who me? That's right.
Who me?
That's good.
It's a nice bird.
That's good. Like a yeah. It's like
Now I got 2 birds on me.
it's like an identity crisis.
Actually, I got these. Look at the color. I got these when I was just before I was 17,
Okay.
and
That must have been some kind of.
no, I got this one.
Must have been some kind of juvenile expression.
Well, this one's in memory of father because he died,
Okay.
and my mother beat the shit out of me when she saw it on my maw,
Why?
on my arm.
Because of the tattoo. Because of what it
no,
said.
because the tattoo and what it said. Well, she didn't appreciate it, but you know it's still there.
Yeah.
Mom's gone.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. I love you so much, and I do.
Yeah. Well,
No,
tattoos-
everybody loves their mother more than they love their father. Have you ever thought about that?
I don't know about that. I think that could vary. I think. I mean, in my practice, of course, I see a lot of different issues, a lot of different things.
Well, that's an interesting question.
I
actually.
love my mother more than my father, but we had a broken marriage there for a while, and there's some other issues there. So that would be logically because my mother kind of carried through my care through the years. I loved her more. But a lot of people have the opposite. They have their fathers doing that.
How old
their
was-
mothers.
How old was your mom when she died?
Well, she was killed. She was killed in a car accident. She was.
Oh, same as my mom.
Yeah, she. Well,
I
she
didn't
was
know that. You never told me
She
that.
was a civilian though. She was jaywalking, unfortunately. And,
Well, that doesn't matter. You know, it's,
And,
to
she
be
got
killed
hit.
in a car
Yeah,
accident.
yeah.
I know the feeling. My
And,
sister and My sister and
And
my
she was
mother
in-
were
she was in
killed
a
in
bad car.
1977,
Bad car accident, Jay.
and my sister was the first mass transplant in North America.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And that's the way it is.
Well, it's
You
just,
know, we gotta die, and
yeah, well,
God picks your way.
and the lesson is live while you're alive.
And that's
Right.
exactly what I'm doing.
That's what you have to do.
I mean, death's
So-
around the corner here.
Always.
And people don't realize it even when you're 20 years old.
You
By the
never
time you're here,
Yeah.
it seems like yesterday,
You never know.
right? And and
things can
it's-
happen. And you just have to enjoy every day.
Oh, you enjoy
No
every
matter, no matter
day.
what you're doing. I mean, even if it's a job, you want to try and enjoy your job. Live for the day. Don't live for the future. You don't know if you have a future.
My advice to people is if you don't like your job, get off it. Don't even waste time.
If you can.
Because, well, if you can,
Sometimes you can. But
and
yeah,
if you're
you
if
can.
you're struggling and you want a pension, and sometimes it's worth to give up the pension and have your freedom and have self-satisfaction in what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. I mean,
Well, the person who enjoys his job is very lucky. Person
every job I've
makes a
had-
living and they enjoy what they're doing and making a living out of it is a very lucky person.
every job I have had, I have enjoyed until a certain point when I've done it too long. It is now boring. Then I don't enjoy it,
And you
and I have to move on.
Got to move on.
And that's the
That's
great
right.
thing about the police force is
Yeah.
you get that opportunity, and that opportunity, if you want, can come. If you push for it, can come every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can change your job, and you can do other things, police work
Yeah.
still, but other jobs in relation
Within
to what you're doing.
That's right.
And
Other-
it's one of the greatest jobs in the world,
Yeah.
but the most thankless job in the world.
True.
Oh, it is. It is the most thankless job in the world, especially here in Toronto.
Well, let's face it. The cops used to get much more respect, right?
Well,
And they deserve respect.
yeah, I agree with that.
But there has to be some give and take too. I think there may be some issues now that people are bringing up where perhaps with the times and with the certain kind of crimes or immigration or cultural change that we have in our society, we all need, not only cops, we all need to adjust to the cultural changes and recognize that there are differences of opinions, differences of thinking, differences in the way
Absolutely.
of dressing.
Absolutely.
I remember years ago there was an interesting thing that arose. I can't remember how it happened. I think it was on the news that somebody was being accused of being a pedophile or being with kids too much or becoming in too much contact with the kids. And it turned out, on doing further research, they were coming from another culture, somewhere in the Balkans, where hugging and kissing and touching of everybody was a very, very common thing. If that person was in that culture, it would have been considered a very normal thing. But coming here to do the same right away, oh, you're a pedophile and you're this and you're that, you're a pervert and whatnot.
There's one thing in my life. I really can't stand and I can't put up with, and that are pedophiles. Even when I was a policeman,
Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
I designed their demise right
Yeah.
from the time I got my hands on them.
Yeah, I mean, when there's real pedophilia going on and you're hurting somebody's psyche as a result, you're invading their psyche and damaging it.
What?
As a kid, of course, that's terrible. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where everybody has this.
Yeah, I
kind of-
agree.
More of this kind of. They're more into the contact, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Not to the sexual way. We just kind of hugging, kissing, that kind of thing.
Well,
So,
the bottom line is there's like you say, different cultures, different
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
I mean, there's things in Africa they do to women that shouldn't be done,
Absolutely.
right? There's
Absolutely.
there's things in different cultures that they treat women like dogs.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes you're married to a woman and she's a real dog, but you don't treat her like one.
Yeah.
If you're here in our society, it's thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Yeah, and of course, we have to recognize that we have a certain cultural norms as well, and that doesn't mean we should allow everybody to do what they want to do because of their cultural background. But if it goes along with our cultural background, it doesn't break any laws, then we could allow some of that stuff. don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
As long as it doesn't break any laws, it doesn't hurt anyone.
I'm afraid right now because you took those Tuvicel pills, then I'm going to have to move down there because you might be one of those guys that just like to hug after listening to you talk. You know, hug me.
Don't
Oh,
worry.
I don't think so.
If I need a hug, I'll ask you. Don't worry.
It's what you're going to poke me with that I won't like.
No, I don't think this will work.
I think those pills will work, though. I know that.
So so maybe just to kind of follow up on the vaccines, just something that's happened in the last week since we were last talking. I was ranting there. I've had virtually almost every patient coming in their 60s and 70s in my practice asking about the vaccines. Just to let you know what's going on about that. First of all, everybody heard that the vaccines, at least in our neighborhood here in Ontario, Southern Ontario, that we had that the offices will have our vaccines. You can get the vaccines in the office. Everybody's asked me that.
Well,
I don't know where they're getting their vaccines. Certainly, we've tried to get vaccines for our office. We don't have any vaccines. We couldn't get any. We don't know who to call. Nobody called us. Public Health didn't tell us. There's no notification anywhere. So at least in our neighborhood, Peel region of Ontario, I have no clue where these doctors got the vaccines.
They have
any.
they have a website now, so you can get into it.
I know, but we looked for how to get vaccines.
Yeah, I
want to distribute vaccines to patients.
Well, yeah, I know that's the biggest. Yeah,
that's what the government said.
Yeah,
right?
and it's. But then again, you've got Mr. Trudeau. He's telling us all these things, and you know what? He's full of baloney, and he's been. And I'm so sorry that Fluffy's ill today. I think Fluffy hurt his little thing, and he lost a lot of skin.
He was over fluffing.
Yeah, he was over fluffing. Yes, he was over fluffing. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and I think he lost some skin someplace he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
He really works hard when he comes on the show, doesn't he?
That's
lying, by the way. I'm lying.
Well, once he found out that he was working into the jokes about Trudeau, I think he was getting a little nervous about that.
Oh yeah. Especially Trudeau. You never know what he's going to do to Fluffy.
That's right.
That might turn him on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's hiding. Maybe hiding from Fluffy.
Yeah, you never know.
You're ignoring that comment, aren't you? You really are ignoring that comment, aren't you? A lot of people are going to hate me for that comment, but you know what?
We'll keep going then.
Okay. I thought I was supposed to fly the humor. Anyway, it's a good life. But let's get down to some serious stuff. The COVID stuff is really serious right now. And
well, that was one thing. So everybody's asking us, we don't have that. But one thing I have told my patients, and I'll even if some of my colleagues will disagree, the studies are showing that the AstraZeneca vaccine isn't as strong. The company also says that it isn't as strong as the others. That doesn't mean it's a bad vaccine. It's a perfectly good vaccine. But I have told my patients to hold out for the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine because their efficacy rate, their rate of success, if you will, or the risk of getting COVID with those shots are much less. And it's okay if you're a young person and if you got a bit of COVID, where you got a bit of fever, you got a bit of cough, maybe a bit of wheezing, maybe a bit of shortness of breath, but you didn't have to go into the hospital. For a young person in their 50s or early 60s, that could work. But once you get people in their over 65, 70, you have these people with borderline heart conditions, borderline chest conditions. You give them a fever, you give them shortness of breath. Some of these things are going to show up. All these preconditions are going to cause these people problem.
That's right.
And so you could say that they're not going to die of COVID, but they may die of a bloody heart attack.
I agree.
And why are we foisting a vaccine just because there's an expiry date on it, and there's a lot of it that came in all at once? Why are we foisting it on the older people? They should, just because they're ready to get vaccinated. That should have been organized well in advance. There should have been an organization in place to get the right people in, to get the right vaccine at the right time. In clinics, that should have been pre-done. So now they're saying, well, now everybody can get the AstraZeneca vaccine. Well, that's fine. You know, that's my opinion, and we don't do that in regular medicine. If there's a good medicine available for a patient, we're not going to give them a second medicine, something less good. If the first medicine is going to do the job.
Well,
I remember years ago. Sorry.
Don't worry.
Just to continue for a second. I remember
but
years
don't
ago.
touch me now. You
Oh,
see,
yeah,
you're
sorry,
starting to get
okay.
touchy.
Okay, I'll go like that. Okay.
I get worried about that because of those pills.
You asked for it.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't.
Don't get so touchy. Okay.
Well, you know what? We were talking serious stuff, but you know what? If you sit back and you think how serious it is.
It is serious.
It is serious.
Yeah.
And you have to think of the light side, because it's not going to get any better.
No.
We've got a prime minister that makes all kinds of promises, and he takes everything away from us, and he's going to take a lot more, people.
I'm just tired of it.
And before he leaves, this man is going to destroy. This man is going to try and destroy this whole country. And he definitely wants to destroy it. He wants to make his own little country and sit up on that throne. That's what he wants to do, and it isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen here in Canada. Maybe he's got some people fooled, and they are idiots. If they're voting for him after what he did with we alone, never mind the other things, and what he has done since, we could be producing our own vaccine.
We should have been by now.
We should have before.
Yeah.
We should have been doing this long before.
Well, there is a vaccine company now they're manufacturing vaccines.
I wonder who owns it. Let's find out who owns it.
That'll be another interesting thing. Of
Yeah,
course.
right. Of course. Yeah. Well, you know what? It didn't work me doing the other thing. I made some money out of it, but now I'm going to make money at home. Well, you know what? Today we have all kinds of advertising. We can sit back and we can talk to people on the other side of the world, and we can pick up all kinds of information that even 10 years ago, the politicians would take advantage of it.
Yeah.
They can't hide now.
Yeah.
There's nowhere in the world that they can hide.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
They can't hide. The bottom line is the only way they can hide is have to do what they got to do in a country that doesn't give a hell, that want it in there. They're looking for money and whatever, or the people inside there are looking for money.
Yeah.
And they take advantage of that. These boys will take advantage of that. But the kicker comes because when they get down and out, those people who give them sanction or sanctuary are going to turn around and say, well, you're no good to me anymore. Like those two goofs that came down and started to make a fool out of us with the We charity, the two brothers.
Two brothers, yeah.
They made us look like idiots, and they were standing there laughing. And they said, well, they can't touch us. I got news for you, boys.
Well, yeah, of course they can.
I got news for you, boys. You're down south in a South American country, and they have little or no use for life, and they won't care.
If I can touch on the last comments you were making a moment ago about the Canadian vaccine, I just gave it a quick look up. It says here,
Novavax? Yeah.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says a deal has been struck with Novavax to produce its own COVID-19 vaccine here in Canada.
Yeah.
So I hope that's Nova Farm.
No, it's Nova. But when will it be ready? That they
The
don't say.
pharmaceutical company isn't expected to be ready to roll out doses domestically until the fall at the earliest.
Yeah.
Well, see, this should have been done.
You see? So, yeah.
I wonder why. How long has Novavax been in existence?
I just know vaguely that Novavax, when COVID was first coming out in March last year, Novavax was around. They had asked to fast track their approval process or their licensing process. There was some issue with that that things were getting slowed. They couldn't get the process going or whatever. And then finally, as coronavirus started getting worse and worse and worse, it sounded like Trudeau and the government tried to get a bit of a fast track thing going. But there you go. I mean, the technology is such that it is going to take a while for that company to ramp up.
To answer your question, it's been around since 1987, and it's originally an American company out of Maryland.
Were they only making vaccines? No, probably not. They were probably making other things
Doesn't
too.
go into depth for that right here.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Why don't they go to a drug company like Novopharm? I know they do a lot of generic stuff,
Yeah.
but
But you know, the typical generic company doesn't do a lot of research. That's why they're generic. That's why they can save money.
They still have research, and they
Well, they have to
do
do
it.
some research,
They
but not.
copy other products.
Yeah,
basically.
they're researchers and copycats.
It's like the Chinese knockoffs of
Yeah,
of
that's
technical
what the
products.
most of the research.
Yeah, I know.
Always
I
the
understand
best.
that, but the people that are high up in that company would get involved in that. I've met the owner.
Would you rather have a Sony or a Somi? A
Well-
Rolex or a Relax?
Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Or
but that-
Viagra or Niagara.
Either way, it's a waterfall.
yeah, one of the two. Something's going to be spouting. But at the end of the day, like they have the money. Novopharm has the money, and they have great leaders. They have no problem doing that. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of it. These people are so intelligent, it's unreal, and they're people lovers.
Yeah.
They're people, right? You know what I mean? Here I am. I'm a person. They go the distance, and I know you would go the distance. I would go the distance. There's other people out there that would go the distance
Oh, yeah.
in that field.
Yeah.
They say, look, let's put it all in because this is for people. This is for life. And that's what we're supposed to do. Is we're supposed to help people along.
Canadian for Canadians. Right?
Well, Canadians, and all Canadians don't have to be for Canadians. Canadians can be for everybody.
Well, you see what's coming out with the vaccines in the last couple of days. I mean, the European Union is getting all upset that the British made AstraZeneca vaccine is being used a lot in Britain, and they're using it up there. They're not sharing it as much with the rest of the European Union. European Union now is saying, well, if that's the case, we're going to hold back on the vaccines we make, which is the Pfizer and the Moderna ones. So they're going to hold back on those. So now they're saving their vaccines. That's why this whole thing about Canada not getting vaccines is getting all in the news right now too, because they're afraid that they're going to hold back on our shipments as well, because we're so dependent on vaccines from other countries because we don't have our own.
I went into the pharmacy. You have a website to get mine, and I went over to one of the pharmacies. Well, we don't know when we can get you because we don't know when. No, we don't know when the next shipment is coming.
That's right.
Now here I am, 72 years old,
Exactly.
right? And I'm not in that good a shape. I'm like, let's face it, my insides are fragile, right?
Yeah.
You know that. You're my doctor.
Yeah.
For me, I got to be careful where I go, what I do, right? At the same time, I got to watch my diet. I got to watch this. I got to wait for a vaccine, and young people are getting vaccines before me. But you know what? I don't give a shit one way or the other.
There aren't too many young people getting vaccines before.
Sure, there are all the nurses. If you have something to do with the public,
healthcare workers, yes.
yes,
Okay,
healthcare
that's
workers
different.
too,
That's
right?
different. What they should have been doing very early on, and I'm not sure why they're waiting so long, is people with pre-existing conditions. They talked about it in some kind of vague manner. They said, well, we're going to have an honor system for pre-existing conditions. Anybody who has a pre-existing conditions among a list of pre-existing conditions can come in and get it if they just say they have one of these pre-existing conditions. But they don't have that. That's right. I had patients who went in because they thought they had a pre-existing condition. They registered, they got there, and then they were rejected. These things are still up in the air. And the issue about announcing, I don't know how many times we heard on the radio, on the news, that the pharmacies are going to have vaccines. Well, not everywhere. Certainly in my area, Peel region, none of the pharmacies have vaccines. The doctors are supposed to have vaccines, not in our neighborhood. And our mayor in Brampton brought out a very good point. We have a 20% rate of COVID in our town, and 9% vaccine rate so far. That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Well, you know what? There's going to be a lot of young people alive out there, and there's going to be a lot of old people dead. I'm waiting to see what happens after this stuff is all over. What they're going to do with the owners of the old people's homes. where they,
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see. They better put them in jail because
Yeah.
all they were doing was taking money and killing people.
Yeah. Well,
And they did it. And I don't
Yeah.
care what you say, and I don't care what anybody says.
that's a crime, right? If
It is.
everyone-
It's a crime, and they should be going to jail for 20 years. But you know what? They're hiding it. So obviously, politicians or important people own them. Meanwhile, squeeze the old and the dead.
I'm going to give you another example, another analogy. If a doctor took too long to perform a procedure on a patient that affected life and death, do you think he would not be held responsible for that?
Yes, he would. 100%.
So if politicians,
They should be.
presidents, politicians are doing it, how come they're not being held responsible for
This
that?
is the future coming because of the new media we have, the
Yeah.
new outlets we have. This is all coming because people are starting to realize this isn't right, and they're gonna, and some people are gonna get really, really upset over it, and things are gonna happen, and the people up top are gonna say, well, you can't do this. Well, I got news for you. If a steamroller's coming from you, you duck.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there's a steamroller coming for these guys, and it's coming, because there's going to be thousands of people out there saying, "You killed my grandmother. You killed my," and all because you wanted to make an extra $100,000 a year off everybody, right? Like kiss my butt.
My question, though, specifically would be,
If you give, you give.
my question specifically would be about the politicians, who would never seem to hold responsibility for some of the stupidity that they do. You know, they leave their office, they have their pension, and they walk away and they're gone. You don't hear from them again.
But yeah, because they've also piled up the bank account.
Yeah. What about McGinty?
Yeah.
He's a great example. How
Well,
many
How about Wynn? There's a
Or even
perfect.
Wynn, yeah.
Well, she's a sly fox.
Yeah.
That one.
It's because of Wynn that we have 54 different methods of giving out vaccines in our province right now. You know?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because she's the one who established the LINs, the local integrated health networks.
Oh God.
You know, so here you have a group of unelected civil servants making six-figure incomes. 54 of them, by the way, 54, at least maybe 3 or 4
I read that.
six-figure income people in each LIN, and so you have got a complaint. Don't come to the Ministry of Health, even though they provide the money. But now you have to go to the LIN. You complain to them because now they're the ones who are looking after you, not us. We just give them the money, so we have nothing to do with it. Don't look at us. Go to the LIN to do it. Go to the LIN to find out how you're going to get your vaccines.
Well,
You know, across the street, some other LIN is working. They're giving the vaccines out in another way.
well, people like that in 20 years won't exist. They won't exist.
I hope so.
Well, they won't exist. It won't be possible. You've got 3 parties right now sitting there: the NDP, the Conservatives, and the Liberals. And one.
Don't forget the Green.
Oh yeah. Well, that's true. Green happy. We are green happy. That's for sure. I'll tell you that. At least there we'll have a lot of seals. We'll have a lot of trees.
Seals or CEOs?
Seals, SEALS. Bridget Bardot's going to come back, and she's gonna make some more of a stink, and you know. Actually, I used to like my seal boots. I used to wear seal boots.
Well, that was very popular in Montreal.
Then all of
It was
us,
very popular.
yeah, I wore them all the time.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk, yes,
Also from Quebec.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Captain
right,
Kirk
that's
from
right.
Quebec.
So
Okay.
I have another thing to talk about regarding the vaccines. This is something.
Shoot.
I just-
Well, yeah, let's go.
this-
Let's go. Let's really
see
go on.
everybody's opinion. What do you think about these vaccine passports? You know, so this is basically a piece of paper that allows you to go
Yeah.
here or go there. Because
Oh,
you're
they're
vaccinated
gonna be
against COVID.
copied by the millions. I mean, just get a photocopier, color.
Well,
it's
that's
gone.
true. You're right about that.
I
But
am
let's,
right.
let's assume they can do a vaccine passport to make it foolproof. Just the principle of a vaccine passport. What's your opinion on that? Are you for it, against it? Does it matter to you?
Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. Okay, fair enough.
I'm not doing any flying right now, and I won't be doing any flying for a
Well,
while.
let's say it's not related to flying. Okay, that's a good point. Flying, yes, but let's say you have a vaccine passport. Now you want to work. You don't want to go into a restaurant to eat, or you want to go to a movie theater, and you have a vaccine passport.
Yes, please.
You have a vaccine
Ginger ale,
passport.
please.
and you
No
need-
scotch.
You need a vaccine passport to get into the movie theater. What happens then? Okay. What do you believe? Do you feel that's a good thing or bad
To
thing?
go to school.
To go to school or do anything.
Well,
And of course travel too. Of course that would be a
Yeah,
key
but
one
you
as
know
well.
what? Depending on what it is, right? To go in to watch a movie, well, it's hard to say. It depends on how it's rated. Think about it.
Yeah. Well, what
I mean,
they-
if it's rated for kids, no.
yeah.
But if it's rated for adults, you're big boys. You can read and write.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Right.
Yeah. That's thank you.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, my contention again is that this is not an issue of freedom. People always kind of bring up the issue of freedom. This is, vaccine passports. I don't know if
Our safety for everybody.
exactly. I mean, I don't know if when you remember traveling. I remember when I was a kid traveling, we used to have. I think I said this last week too. We had a regular passport.
I'm not going to put my arm around you.
Thank you. Okay, we had a regular passport, and then we I remember each one of us. I had a yellow book that we kept inside the passport that had all our vaccines.
That's right.
To travel.
That's right.
And if you didn't have those vaccines to travel in those
You
days,
couldn't
of course,
travel.
Yeah, the smallpox was the big one in those days. If you couldn't, well, you could travel, but you couldn't end up in the other country. They wouldn't let you in.
That's right.
So that's not a question of freedom. It's a question of health and public health and public safety.
And it's not for yourself. It's for your fellow man,
Exactly.
right? And that's a case where you're giving,
Yes.
and you have to give.
It's a community effort, right?
Yes,
Everybody
you
has
have to give.
Right.
If you're not a giver, then you're gonna try and sneak around just like a little rat,
Yeah.
and do what you got to do.
Yeah. So
You know, like politicians do.
that's right.
They do. They do. Like you know what? The best politician, in my opinion, we have in Canada, and they're all taking shots at him, is right now our premier.
He isn't doing too badly. I mean,
I know it's
I
hard.
can blame him for a couple of things, but overall, I think compared to a lot of other politicians
A
who are doing
mistake?
it right now,
A mistake and a move to better themselves are two different things.
absolutely. I mean, he's admitted some of his mistakes.
Now he has.
Yes.
He came out like Trump came out when he was there.
Yeah.
He came out with the boxing gloves on, and the first thing he said was, "Look, I don't care about the rest of it for now. We got to address this. This is what he's the first politician to do that.
Yeah.
We're addressing this. Go do your thing. I'm addressing this because it's going to cost lots of lives." And every time he makes a move, somebody tries to stick it to him because they're the opposition,
Of course.
right? And so whose fault is it? It's the opposition's. They should be saying, you know what, we got to shake hands for a little while until
Yeah.
all the people are in the right place. But
Well,
they're not.
No, you're right. I think a lot of people have given the analogy that this is basically a wartime kind of effort, a wartime situation.
And it
You
is.
have to make a few sacrifices.
It is a
You have
wartime
to- For a
situation.
community effort, right?
That's
You
right.
have to make some sacrifices. But the people who are calling this all based on kind of freedom, this is your freedom, and my freedom is being violated because I have to wear a mask, that's my freedom being violated.
Yeah, I can kiss my ass.
Come on, that's really...
I see that happen. If I see that happen, I'll tell the guy, get out of here because there's kids here. I don't want you here.
Well, that's why we've
I would
had-
tell him right, and even if it's not my kids, I
Yeah.
wouldn't care.
Yeah. That's why we have smoking laws, if you will. It's again for the common good.
Well, wait a minute, I smoke.
I know, but for the common good, you wouldn't smoke in front of a kid, and you wouldn't smoke if you have a bunch of non-smokers in your car. You wouldn't
Who
smoke.
are you
in-
kidding? I had my first cigarette when I was 9.
But what happens if
I stole my dad's.
Well,
You
let's say
wouldn't
if you,
tell kids nowadays to do that, right?
Right.
No, not at all.
Right,
Not at all. My daughter doesn't smoke anymore. My youngest son doesn't smoke, and my oldest son, well, he doesn't smoke either. So
so those are good points. I mean, you're doing something for the common good.
I
This
didn't
is
do
the
it.
way-
Yeah,
this is the way
for
it
them.
should be as well.
Yeah, no,
mean,
I smoke outside.
Yeah.
Like I go in my car and I sit down. If you don't like it when I smoke in my car, don't ride my car.
yeah, it's like throwing your garbage in the street or putting it in a garbage can.
Well, you
it's
just
like
throw it
for
on the street. Somebody will put it in the garbage can because there's always a Mrs.
It's
Clean
always
out there.
garbage.
Hey,
It's
Mrs.
always
Clean.
garbage.
Mrs. Clean.
Mrs. Clean.
Mrs. Clean.
Don't be sexist now. It's either Mr. Clean or Mrs. Clean or Ms. Clean.
No.
Or maybe a non-sexist clean, or
No,
it could
this is
be,
Mrs. Clean.
multi-sex
Or
clean,
doesn't
or
identify as
whatever.
clean.
Mr. Clean.
Or
Mr.
doesn't identify as clean.
Yes, okay.
This is getting tongue. This is tying my tongue up. I'm giving up. I'm giving up.
I'll have to
Just
remember
forget
that
about
one.
it. Give me 2 of those pills. Maybe we'll hug.
Don't
Oh,
cross
man.
streams.
So I'm definitely for vaccine passports. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. And you know, if you get quarantined because you don't have a vaccine, or if you get restricted in your ability to do things because you don't have a vaccine, it's not because of it's not trying to control your freedom. It's trying to protect everybody from
Everybody
you,
else.
who potentially you could potentially give other people diseases, and
That's right.
And this is why people get quarantined, and
Yeah.
so. I mean, we have to allow for that kind of thing to go
You
on.
know, that's why they invented condoms.
What for?
For
diseases.
Yes.
So,
the plastic.
You may have an idea there. I can
Yeah,
see
but
that giant condom. You don't want to be isolated. Just put one of these on.
See,
from head to toe.
plastic
What do you
is
think?
not that bad.
No. It could be.
It saves a lot of lives.
What about latex?
Latex, it's great for paint.
You did take those.
Latex
didn't
paint, eh?
you? What about latex?
Well, we're talking about some giant condoms here.
Yeah, well, that's fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with giant condoms, right down to your little old ankles, right?
That's right. You'll have to have.
But then again, you can't go out in the heat because your feet smell. So you got to get them covered too.
My feet are very delicate, you know.
Are they?
Yeah,
You put
they
you
don't
put
smell.
little bits of nail polish on it.
I put rose water on them.
I had a rabbi one day, and I invited him home. We had a little party.
Yeah.
And what he did was he took off his sock, and he had purple nail polish on his feet. And I am telling you, there's a rabbi.
There's a holiday that just passed. It's called Purim, and so you're allowed to wear some really crazy outfits.
Oh, maybe that's
even
it.
the
Maybe that
rabbis
is
are
why.
allowed to wear some really crazy stuff during Purim.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
It's a costume holiday, like Halloween.
Oh,
But
is
it's
it?
for a different reason, but it's like Halloween.
Well, tell me what the reason is, because I want to know.
Well, there was a king in Persia who had like his prime minister who was very anti-Semitic, and he wanted to kill off all the Jews who lived in Persia. But he had a queen who was Jewish. One of his queens, I think he had more than one, but this particular
They
queen
all did.
was his a female queen.
There's a lot of queens here in Toronto.
A female queen.
There's a lot of queens here in Toronto.
Yeah, and speaking of gender identity, we have to kind of specify it was a male queen or a female queen. So it was a female queen,
Okay.
and she was Jewish, and her I think it was her uncle or her brother, I can't remember, but it was a relative who knew that the prime minister for this kingdom was trying to influence the king to kill off all the Jews. Anyway, he told the queen talked to the king, and the king reversed it all and found out what was happening. So instead of all the Jews dying, the prime minister who was going to kill off all the Jews was hanged. And that's
Good
the
idea.
holiday. So there was this miracle thing going on. Why, I can't, to be honest, I have to look it up. Why they have the costume thing going on, I'm not quite sure. I know they have these
I'm
little,
curious. Can you look that up for me?
yeah, I will. But the kids dress up. They make a lot of noise with rattles and stuff like that, and they have these little. You may have even had one if you had a Jewish grandmother. It's called Hamantaschen. So these are triangular cookies made with some kind of prune type of filling inside, and they're supposed to resemble the hat that this prime minister used to wear.
Mm-hmm.
This bad prime minister used to wear. And so people eat that, and they wear all kinds of outfits. Yeah, some of them are pretty crazy outfits.
You know,
Yeah,
like
so, and it's supposed to be all good. Like it's an official Jewish law that you can go around and wear all these crazy things during that period of
for a
time.
guy who doesn't practice Judaism.
Well, I'm
you know a lot.
still interested. You know.
Yeah, me too. Same way.
Proponent.
I'm interested in the Muslim interest. I've got the Quran right there. If you.
Well, I
You
work
wanna
with a
see, I
lot of
started
Muslim
reading it a
people,
while
and I have we all get along just fine. We all get along just fine. I respect them. Sometimes they go into their little room and they do their prayer.
Yeah.
I'm not a very religious person. I don't do that. But if they want to do their prayers, hey,
I actually made up my
respect
mind
them.
to go into a mosque and pray.
Oh, really?
This may have happened. This may happen tomorrow at 1:30.
Nice.
If I could schedule it in. If I had known it was open,
Yeah.
the mosque, I would go.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Wear
Yeah,
little
well, you know,
socks.
I've been in synagogues and churches,
Sure.
and I haven't been in a Sikh temple, but I would like to get into
Well,
it.
I did visit the Dome of the Rock in Israel years ago when I was traveling. In those days, it was open to Jewish people. It's no longer open to Jewish people now. But
Why?
well, because Jordan, after the Six-Day War, eventually took it over. Well, I was there. I was there in '71, and the Israelis still were in charge of the Dome of the Rock. That's the big thing that you see on TV in Jerusalem with the big gold dome. So that was supposed to be the place where Muhammad went in some kind of dream or whatever, went up in a horse to up to heaven in a horse. It also happens to be the rock in which supposedly the Jewish temple was also built on, which was destroyed by the Romans in just in the first century. After Jesus was crucified, shortly after that, this thing was destroyed. And then when the Muslims came and took over Jerusalem, somewhere in around 600, 700 AD, they built the Dome of the Rock, which is where, they built it over where the old temple used to be. And that's where the big controversy is right now. But the point is that shortly after the Six-Day War that Israel won, Jordan was given the right to look after this temple. And as part of the deal, they didn't want Jews going into the temple. And so right now it's looked after by Jordanian police. And I don't know how the pronouncement is, but it's WAQF or WAQF or whatever. These are special Muslim Jordanian police who look after the Dome of the Rock. And they don't let Jews in there at all. So that's the way it is. But I got a chance to see it. And so it's pretty cool. It's a beautiful temple. But that's the way it is.
It's funny, I was talking to my friend in Montreal, and we were talking about different countries and different things, artists, and different places to go, different places to see, religious places. And I said, you know what, the best place I've ever been in for actual, if ever you people are going anywhere in Europe, three places you have to go. You have to go to England. I lived there for 3 years up to when I was a teenager. And France, I've been there, and I've been to their museums, and I had a good time there. But the biggest thing, the best thing I ever saw, and the best city, was Prague. And you could walk into their church, and you're actually walking over graves that are that have been people been buried from 1100, 1200.
That's pretty amazing.
And you see as far as I'm concerned, they have the best city. They have the town is unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah.
Unbelievably beautiful. Cobblestones.
Is it on a river of some sort?
Yeah, there's a river there, and you cross the river over to go to the big castle where the church is and everything, and you see all the soldiers. It's totally amazing. So it is mind-boggling. But they had one thing there, and actually, I was talking this morning about it. They have one thing there. Everybody gathers in a square to watch this clock, right?
Okay.
And what happens is the clock was built in the 12th century, maybe before, I can't recall. And what happens is right at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, whatever it is, the guy comes out with a bing, bing, he comes out.
Okay.
I'm looking, you got 1,000 people here watching this little thing bang. Screw that. I went and I sat in one of the patios, and they have great beer in Prague.
Well, of course.
Ooh. I sat there and I got drunk, and I was laughing at them all. You know what? Look at the clock. That's nice.
Czech people are really nice people, though.
Eh?
They're really nice people.
Yeah, they're very, very intelligent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I went shopping there, and I found one of their Olympic hockey players had the name Blaha, and what I did was I bought one of his sweaters.
Nice.
And I brought it back and gave it to my son, because my son's a hockey player, right? So it's something else. And the people, I went out to the farm areas, and they're so simple. They got the old barn there with a big barrel filled with pork. I'm sorry about that, right? You're Jewish. But
I'm not exactly kosher. I'm not exactly religious.
Yeah, but I know that. I'm kidding.
But that's okay.
I'm playing here. But they have pork, and it's in salt, and it's all it is so good. You pull it out of the barrel, it's all pickled, and it's beautiful. And I didn't think you could get it here. So I go see my friend. He owns European Meats, Morris Leader. What a wonderful man. And he says he showed me the same
He
pork.
knew what you were talking about.
Huh?
He knew what you were talking about.
He knew what I was talking about. He showed me how to make it.
So what do you call it? Is there a name for it?
I can't remember. I can't remember, but I know I still know how to make it. But it was it ever
Oh, I'm
good?
sure
They
it was
pickle
good.
it,
Oh,
the
yeah.
salt. Oh my
Yeah,
God!
yeah.
I can't have salt now.
Great for your blood pressure, everyone. Just fantastic.
Yes. Well, and if you do use it, don't forget to buy your CBD. Don't forget to buy your CBD because that'll help keep you alive. Anyway, everybody's eating pork and smoking weed. What the hell, eh? This is Canada.
Yeah,
Justin
yeah.
Trudeau made it just perfect for
Yeah,
us, didn't
yeah.
he?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
that's interesting. So I think we shouldn't be confusing community efforts with freedom. They're two different things,
Two different
right?
things.
They are really two
Absolutely.
different things.
Absolutely.
And if you have to get quarantined because it's for the better good, then we have
So
to
what?
have
That
it.
you go for it because I don't want. If I get it, I don't want to go out and infect anybody, and I don't.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? I might shake hands with the prime minister. That wouldn't be bad. But he's probably already got his injection, so I'll have to
Yeah,
just
probably
take some
has.
blood out and just give him a little prick in the ass, right?
Yeah. Well.
Well, not what. I better be careful what I say there. You might like that. Anyway, well, those sometimes words have two meanings, right?
Yes, or more than two
Oh
minutes.
yes, I know that. I know those words. I know all those words.
So,
Two meaning words could get you a long way
Yeah.
and get you in trouble too.
do you have a plan or do you have a time for your vaccine yet? Or
No,
you-
I'm not even worried about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't get out there and I don't walk out there and shake everybody's hand. You know, I wait till they come in here, and not too many people get in here.
I got one, and we're waiting for we were supposed to go in April, but now that's been postponed till June because we don't have enough vaccines, so they're extending the time between vaccines, hoping to get more. By
Oh
the
boy,
time
I
it
wish
comes.
Fluffy was here now.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah, I wish Fluffy was here now.
Yeah, maybe I should bring it back one time.
Yeah, well, you know what we got to do is we got to get Fluffy's skin fixed there. That's got to come back.
What's that? Oh,
Guess-
well, I'll give him a few. Like he heals really quickly.
Yeah. Okay, do you think Fluffy will be healed by next week?
I think Fluffy will be healed by next week.
Yeah, yeah, he should be okay.
Yeah, and he
Just don't
should.
give him any of those pills.
Yeah, no pills. No.
Oh.
Keep those pills away.
Yeah, it was the other pills that you have to be afraid of, right?
So
Yeah, but you know what? You can always have a dog on the other leg.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, your little one there, your new
Oh,
dog.
yeah,
there,
God,
boy,
yeah, he's a
frisky guy.
pain.
He's a frisky little guy, but that's okay. He's a baby. That's what babies do.
Yeah, but you know what?
So,
He's jumping all over Loki, and Loki's old, right? And Loki is actually.
But Loki tells him what to tell. Loki
yeah.
puts him in his
Oh,
place.
yes, he does. He
gives him
certainly
the,
does.
gives him the.
But he doesn't stop.
pecking order.
He says, "You know what? I got to do this again."
He's
And he
enjoying
goes
it.
and he does
He's
it.
enjoying it. Until he learns. It may take him a while to learn. That's all.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I chased him for half an hour outside. Somebody opened the gate on the side of the house, right? He was gone.
You young one?
Yeah. Oh God. He's so fast.
He's fast. You can see how fast he is.
Oh, he's so fast, man. I tell you. But you know what? He bites. He still bites. He bites me when he sees me, and I don't like that because I don't like the barking.
Yeah.
He's got both. Right, he knows enough not to grab my leg, but I saw him go. I saw that gentleman that came in that does the TV just a while back.
Yeah.
He wouldn't leave his leg alone.
Oh, really? Well, as soon as I walked in, he grabbed a leg too. So
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he likes
right
you.
away.
He likes you.
Fantastic. I enjoy that. Yeah. It's my favorite thing.
Go with your colored toenails, Rabbi.
Raindrops on roses and dogs on your leg.
You know what? It's a serious conversation that we're having.
Really serious.
And I'm hoping that we get to people with the humor and that, just to get people to listen what the other side of the humor is saying.
I love to hear people if they have any comments. If any of you guys are listening, if you have any comments, please feel free to let us know because we'd like to either respond or to listen to other people's opinions.
Yeah, well,
really.
you know, push that button.
Yeah.
Push that button and subscribe, because things are opening up and we're about to go into full swing, and we're ready for full swing with proper guests and two old farts like us. But it's been good practice, and we've learned a lot, and we've had a good laugh.
Oh yeah, well, we're having a good time.
And remember, when you're out there, laugh, because laugh is the best cure in the world.
It really is.
And it is too.
Yeah.
And they have laugh therapy out there. If you just want to laugh, watch our show. You get your giggles.
So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to bring up here.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
not the sandwich.
how are we for
Yeah.
time, Tony?
10 minutes.
Okay.
We got 10 minutes left.
Yep.
Well,
Let me see.
what's next?
Do you have anything to bring up? I was gonna maybe just bring.
Want to talk about hockey? No, I don't want to talk about
Well,
hockey.
okay, I'm not much of a hockey maven, but you are.
No, I'll then forget about it. I don't
Well,
want
no,
to talk
no,
about.
no, no, no.
no,
Listen, I'm interested. I want to find out how things are going, where we are in the playoffs.
My team,
Where
my
we-
team has all got covert.
You're talking about the.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're down. Now,
They haven't played in 2 games. They missed 2 games.
but the Leafs are still going, right? They're still good. Or do
Aye.
they have any people with COVID as well?
Well, Leafs are not doing that well at all.
No, they're not doing well, but I
But
heard
they're still
that,
at the top of their division.
yeah, I remember
So-
Montreal that they lost a few players. recently.
Anderson, the Leafs' main goalie, has been out for the last week, but he's just returning now, so they could have an upswing. I don't remember which team it was, but the last team that went against Montreal also got infected by the infected team.
Oh, get out of
The
here!
whole schedule for all the teams. is
That wasn't
being
Calgary,
rewritten.
was it? It wasn't Calgary, was
I
it?
think it was Winnipeg.
Winnipeg?
I could be wrong though.
No.
But the whole
Yeah, you
schedule
probably
changed.
it probably is Winnipeg, because that's I think they just played them and that was it.
And the Raptors have gone through the same problem lately. They've had some COVID cases.
I don't watch
Oh,
much
basketball.
basketball. I'm not a basketball fan.
I like basketball.
I'll play it,
I can't
but
stand
I
it.
think it's like dancing. You know?
I
It's
like playing
dancing,
it.
eh?
I liked playing it, but I
Yeah.
don't like watching
You
it.
like
I don't
watching
like
it?
watching cricket.
Well, cricket, no.
No, I mean that's the most boring sport in the world. You might as well take up rollerblading. And
Well,
you
some
get
people
more
argue
action
that
in it.
basketball, of course, that came from cricket. They would argue that basketball is pretty boring too.
Well,
What do you think of basketball?
well,
What
to
do you think
play
about-
basketball
No, sorry,
is
not
a lot of fun.
basketball. Baseball.
Baseball. Yeah.
Oh, I
The
love
Aztecs
baseball.
created basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
I love baseball.
Yeah, I like baseball too, but some people would say it's about as boring as cricket because of
Oh,
Same
not
game.
even
It's the
close.
same game, but instead of a diamond, it's back and forth.
back and forth. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's not the same
Yes,
game.
it is. Look at the rules. Look them up.
Yeah, look them up. How do you put a guy out? Just there's
By
one.
getting the ball back to the
Yeah.
receiver, the catcher. in
No,
other words.
no. You have to hit the pegs.
You have to hit the pegs.
You have to hit the pegs. There's 3 pegs there, and there's pegs on top of them. You have to hit the pegs.
Nonetheless, the basis is basically the same.
Well, it's hitting the ball. The bat's different, and the movement of the way you hit is all different.
Yes.
They don't hit from side. Don't I played
Yeah,
it?
but that's not the base of the game. That's just the small bits of it.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same.
Anyway,
and you,
this
and you don't have 50,000. You don't have 50,000 Canadians in over there watching it. And how many Canadians here watch cricket?
There are a lot of people who've immigrated
Yes.
from countries
Yes,
where
they
cricket
do.
is popular, right?
They do.
Yeah.
But what about their offspring?
Kids are watching
They're gone.
cricket right now. The guy I work with, he's in his young 20s. He's from Bangladesh.
He likes
It's his biggest football.
Yeah,
soccer.
because he just came over. He's from Bangladesh, right?
Yeah, and
You're telling
all
me-
the people who live here from similar nationalities.
Yeah, but the young people, they go to school, they play hockey. You don't see cricket at school. Have you seen cricket at school?
I haven't been in school in 20 years.
No, but have you heard of it in school?
Yeah, I knew about cricket since I first came to Canada.
But have you played it? Have you seen it played?
Yes.
Well, you're very lucky because
Up at Domino's in Eglinton, there's a regular game there all the time.
yeah, oh,
That's the community.
you're talking about the older
No,
immigrants.
talking about kids.
Okay.
Who were born right here in Toronto
So
because
local-
they play with their dads.
Yeah, local leagues.
Just like
Yeah,
you
well,
play catch with your son with baseball, they play cricket with their sons. and
I
daughters.
understand what you're saying, but it's you don't generate. They don't generate people, but their own people to the game.
Mm,
That's right. It's like baseball in England. You don't see baseball. You just don't see it. But I liked baseball when I was there. And I
Okay,
could
then
see.
how do you explain baseball in Japan?
Japan likes baseball. You got cricket in Japan?
I wouldn't know. I've never
know.
been there.
Thank you.
It's possible though.
Google it.
If there's-
Baseball,
if
baseball.
there's ever
You got a
been
lot of
person from
Japanese.
India
You got
and
a
Japan,
great
there's cricket in
Japanese
Japan.
players. You know that, eh?
There are.
And you got great American players over there.
And you've got great Canadian players of cricket over there.
I'd like to know the name of one. I know soccer players. You got all kinds. Canadian soccer players.
Do you want
I
to
think
hold
he
up
means
Gary's?
football.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Football.
Yeah. Do you want to show? Do you want to show Gary's sign?
Pardon me?
Do you want to show Gary's sign?
Do I want to show?
Gary's sign. Gary. His sign.
Oh yeah.
Good financing.
Where is the sign? Let's. Oh, that's a good idea.
Don't
Listen.
Don't forget about Gary.
Yeah, don't forget about Gary. You need a car. You gotta have financing. What you gotta do is use this. Use this number. Write it down now. I can't see it, so I don't know what it is. But
It's a good number though.
416-505-7284.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
Thank you.
Gary, I hope you get a lot of customers, and I know you're going to look after them better than 99% of the rest of the guys that are in your business, right?
He's
And I
very
know that.
very experienced. A lot of knowledge,
Yeah, but he's not out chasing the buck.
and he's willing to work for you and not to overcharge.
No, he doesn't even come. Never
Very-
mind overcharge. He undercharges.
It's very fair. Very fair.
Oh, more than fair, and he's not out to make a big buck.
Right.
He's our age, and
He's a good guy.
he's got kids, grandkids. Da, 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 da. All he cares about is life, right?
Canada has been representing cricket since 1968 on the international
Wow.
field.
On the international field, been represented by
the
what?
Canada national cricket team is
Oh,
a
yeah.
team that represents the country of Canada in international cricket. The team is organized by Cricket Canada, which became an associate member of the International Cricket Council in 1968.
Yeah, 1968. But where the games are not. You can't go to a cricket game at a stadium, can you?
I believe you can actually.
No, only during the Olympics. Special occasions. It's not played like it's played in young leagues. I know it is. I see it played. I understand it, and
Apparently, it's the fastest growing sport in Canada.
well then that's okay. Then that's good.
Well over 40,000 cricketers across the nation.
Wow.
Well, see, you got a lot of immigrants coming in, but where are their children going to be? Who knows?
I thought
There's too much-
I thought soccer was the big one.
It's the biggest. It's not
Yeah.
the fastest growing.
Not as fast
It's
as
already
growing.
had its growth.
Yeah, well, you don't see it on TV. You see the games. The interest there
You
is,
gotta watch the right channels.
but it's not like hockey. It's not like baseball,
Well, no,
where
it's not
millions
home-
and
it's
millions
not
of people
homeborn.
watch it.
It's not homeborn, is your point.
The
Yes.
point is, yeah, but who invested baseball?
We did.
Hey,
The Canadians.
that's right. Did you know that? And another thing, here's one thing for you. Who invented hockey?
The Canadians?
The Americans.
I didn't know that.
That's a fact.
The original six, yeah.
No, not the original six. Before that,
Well, yeah.
they invented the game.
New
So
York- New York was
I thought
before
hockey.
that.
I thought
And who invented basketball?
Technically not Canada, even though we've taken credit for it. The Aztecs did.
Well, yeah.
We've
Okay.
taken credit for
And
it.
of course, the hockey was also wasn't it originally coming from what's that sport? The Indian sport with the
Yeah.
Like-
the little nets, and you got the ball in the little nets, and
Well,
you throw
what
it.
they had that,
Lacrosse,
but what they had to do
lacrosse.
is they had no physicals.
Lacrosse-
They used everything but their hands,
hands.
Elbows.
to get it up in, and it was a way for the young men to become warriors.
That's right.
You would die in there,
Yeah.
but that would be because you were not warrior worthy.
They have that. They got some good teams here. Toronto's got a good team.
For lacrosse.
Yeah, lacrosse.
Interesting. There you go.
So I mean, at the end,
The Rock.
the Rock. Yeah, it's called the Rock. I've never watched the game, and I don't
No.
really care about it. I've worked at the games as a
Well,
policeman.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care about that. The soccer games too. When they first started coming, the professional soccer games, you go into the stadium and there was like 0 people. Now you go into the stadiums when they
Pretty
play,
busy.
They're busy
Yeah.
because now they've got some good players, good teams, and a lot of the players are taken from Europe.
That's right.
So it's a good sport.
Part of the world.
Yeah, I never knew much about soccer until I went over there, over to England. Like I never kicked the ball. They made fun of me because I always used to kick with my one foot. In school, right? Oh yeah, look at Dummy over there, the Canadian. You know.
Well, you can't kick with just one foot.
Eh?
No,
can't-
you know what
You
you're
can't play it.
You
No.
gotta dribble with both feet.
Oh.
I'll tell you,
Oh.
I was teased every time I played.
I used to dribble a lot, but then I got medication. I don't dribble anymore.
That's the basketball. Did you find out who invented basketball?
Oh, I didn't look that up. And if I do look it up, I'll find 10 different answers because 10 different people will say 10 different things. Depends on what country you're looking it up in, who's going to take credit for it.
Wow. In any
Wasn't it
case,
supposed to be some kind of McGill guy who put a basket up to
Beach
get?
basket from
Yeah,
Farmer
yeah. Wasn't
Heritage.
that the legend?
That's the Canadian legend, if you will.
It's like George Washington and the cherry tree.
I mean, that stuff supposedly happened and all, but again, where did that idea come
I
from?
don't
Was it
know.
out of his head, or was
Yeah.
it, hey, in the history class down the hall, I was talking to my coworker, and he showed me what the Aztecs did. Let's turn this into a safer game.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't.
They don't-
And the same thing on the part of our heritage. They do the whole thing. Superman is Canadian. No, he's not. The idea did come from a Canadian.
That's right.
Who brought it to his cousin in America
And
to
then they had
publish
it.
it.
Yeah.
If he hadn't been for the American publisher, it wouldn't have existed.
here's a man who never watches a hockey game.
You don't watch hockey?
I do watch hockey.
I'm fucking with you.
I don't watch basketball.
You know what? Like I say, basketball is such a fun sport to play.
Absolutely.
But to me, to watch it, I can't stand it.
Mm.
Even soccer. Like, the only time I watch soccer is if Tottenham Hotspur is there. Because when I was in England, I started watching it.
Yeah.
And my favorite player was a guy called Jimmy Greaves. Best player in the world at the time.
Jimmy Greaves.
Jimmy Greaves. Remember it, it's true. You can Google him too. He's still alive and well. Anyway, listen, we got 1 minute to go. I want to say good night, and I hope everybody gets their vaccination by Monday.
Yes.
And I know it won't happen. And as for Fluffy, Fluffy should be okay. The skin, you're going to get doctor. You're the
make
doctor.
sure-
You're going to
we'll-
repair his skin.
We'll make sure he's healthy. He's
Okay.
healthy, and all his parts are intact, and yeah, and he's as fluffy as ever.
Fluffy the wanker. You know, Fluffy the wanker. And next week, I don't know who we're going to have. I'm going to have to reschedule a lot of the, now we can reschedule people to come in
Yeah, we
at our office
we
down in
can,
Morningside. So,
I'd love to interview a few interesting people. You know, yeah, it'd be nice to.
and if anything you need that we can help you with, give us a call. If you have legal problems, give me a call. I can direct you someplace for whatever your legal problem is. And if you're smart, don't get married. Because
What number did they call?
416-930-7747, and push the button if you want to be with us again. Show some interest. In fact, if you want to send us some jokes, you can use my email,
Good idea.
edblaha@hotmail.com. But there's some things that have to be, edited. So you can give
Who's
me
going to be
what.
responsible for that?
Pardon me?
Who's going to be responsible for the editing?
Well, he edits everything.
Oh, okay.
We'll just let Fluffy do it.
All right?
Yes.
Should I
Yeah,
tell
well,
him? Can I tell a dirty joke? Should I tell a dirty joke?
As long as you don't say what you said to the secretaries
No, I can't do
last
it.
time.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that. I got some really good jokes, and there's just something not meant for TV in case a kid gets his hand on it.
Maybe our next appliance should be one of those buttons that you can mute things very quickly.
I've got my eyes on one. It costs $500.
for one of those buttons?
Well, it's got more buttons than that, but it's got a beep.
Okay, you know what? Let's call it a day. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. We'll
Push
see you
that
next
button
week.
if you want to come.
Yes.
Wait a minute. That's not a good thing to
No,
say,
wrong
especially
button.
coming from my mouth.
That's okay.
If you want to become part of
When
our.
you want to become, not come. Yes, become. When you want to become.
Well, they can come too.
But you don't
If you're going to be a good guest, and you think you're going to be a good guest, what I want you to do is give us a call, 416-930. Actually, use my email at blaha@hotmail.com, and let's figure out if we can get you in. If you're a guest, if you're a good guest, I want to talk to you. Right? And no strippers, please, because we have children watching this. Anything else?
Well, look, strippers are people too. You know,
Well,
if
I
they
know
have,
that,
if
but-
they have some interesting things to talk about in their profession,
Yeah. But
Look,
you know what?
they're
You'll be
fine.
some people will be watching the show and they'll be holding their kid and saying, "Don't look at that. Don't look
Why?
at that. I don't want that."
I wish I could put those like glasses with like the spliff sitting out. You know how they do that?
We can do that.
Strippers are people too. Wow, wow, wow. Two sitting on either side now.
No. Those actually a lot of strippers are really, really good girls.
Absolutely.
yeah.
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 Wow. They're all
And
good girls.
some of them are gorgeous, right?
Some of them.
Hot, gorgeous.
Yeah. Some of them.
But they make a
Some
living. They
of
have
them,
to.
yes.
They have to make a living. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. But
Well, it's just the
They
ones
all
that
make
aren't
a
you got to watch out for.
No, just watch out for the donkey.
No, but you know what? The ones that aren't are the ones you got to watch out for because they got long arms and they can reach around your back and get into your back pocket and get the wallet.
oh, that's what they're going to reach for.
Yeah, well, that's all.
Okay.
That's all. That's all they're looking for is the
Oh.
wallet. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.